going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another installment of Boat Hotline. Happy March. We're excited to spring into boating season. I know a lot of you are in the market and eager to get on the water. Buying a boat's exciting. It can also be overwhelming. There's a lot of things to consider when you're buying a boat. Am I paying the right price? What's the boat's history? What should I be looking for? Should I hire a surveyor? Well, honestly, surveyors are pretty expensive and sometimes they're not all they're cracked up to be. So today we're going to go have a chat with our friend Will of Willpower Marine Service and Repair, and he's going to take us through a few crucial things to look for when purchasing a stern drive boat. Let's go have a chat. So I'm here with Will of Willpower Marine in Terra Verde, Florida, and if you're in the market for a stern drive, this is the guy to talk to. So he's going to go over a few things with you to look for when you're purchasing your new boat.
Thanks, Rich. A few potential maintenance issues you'd like to look out for. The first thing is your manifolds and risers located on the port and starboard side of the motor. You want to make sure that there's no rust, there's no water leaking. These should be changed every 3 to 5 years or per manufacturer's recommendation. If they're not changed, the downside to this is you will have water intrusion into the motor and can cause further catastrophic damage. The outdrive is the beginning of the cooling system. Water enters in through the side of the drive, through the drive holes located on the port and starboard side. Water then goes up the tunnel and then through the cooling hoses into the transom and then into the motor. Let's go inside and check it out. Water enters in through the back of the transom, goes through a series of hoses just like this, routes its way through the motor, and then finally ends up in the most important part, the manifold and riser assembly. It's very important to understand that this assembly be checked or changed every 3 to 5 years or per manufacturer's recommendation. The most common fail point on this is the riser gasket itself. Beyond its service life, this gasket tends to wither away, as well as the mating surfaces between the manifold and the riser itself. When this occurs, water then enters through the exhaust passage in the middle and finds its way into your motor. It's very important to ask either your service provider or the broker listing the vessel what the maintenance life has been on your manifolds and risers. Another important place to check is your oil. If you pull the dipstick, the first thing you would like to do is clean off the end. Just make sure you don't have any residual oil on there. Things to look for are dark color. Golden brown color is acceptable. Another thing to look for is a milky tint. This would indicate that there's water intrusion into the motor. The most important thing when checking a dipstick is you want to make sure that the dipstick is not beyond the full level and is not beyond the low level. Halfway to 3/4 is an acceptable amount. This is an exhaust bellow, which funnels exhaust gases down through the drive. And then you have your clamps. Very important to make sure your clamps are new, stainless. If rusted, you can get water introduced through the shift cable bellow or the U-joint bellows.
So all the bellows are located right here. So how would you know if they're bad or good? What would you look for?
Well, Rich, the most important thing is to ask your broker or selling agent what the service history has been like for the bellows themselves.
Absolutely.
Anything more than 2 years should probably be looked into. Any local certified mechanic can take care of that for you. An important thing to look at as well is your hoses and your clamps. Make sure that they're all tight. Make sure that they are stainless clamps. Make sure that the hoses are all attached. Nothing has been removed and incorrectly put back on. The downside to a hose coming off, especially at speed, is the motor will be saturated with salt water or engine oil or fuel, so on and so forth, which can lead to bigger problems down the road. This is an example of a good clean clamp. Here we have a rusted clamp. The difference between the two is this is most likely a 304 or a non-stainless material. This is a 316 material. It does not pay to cheap out on your clamps. When I go to buy a boat, the first thing I check is to make sure there's no water in the fuel. By doing this, you ensure that there's no water in the fuel tank and that the motor will run and operate the way it should. The way to check for water in the fuel, the most common kind of filter has a clear bowl on the bottom. You'll see water separate from the fuel towards the bottom. It's very easy to drain. You simply turn the petcock and the water drains out. Close it back up, you should be good to go.
One final consideration is boat storage. Did the owner properly accommodate for the boat storage conditions? If it was kept in a high and dry, that's a good thing. It was under shelter, it was probably well maintained. If it was kept in their backyard underneath a tree, collecting rainwater and leaves and whatnot, not so good. If it was in a wet slip, did the owner have it scraped regularly, maintained regularly? These are all good questions to ask. If the boat wasn't well taken care of, that could be an indication of other issues. So we've gone over risers, manifolds, the gasket, the oil, the fuel filter, but what is something that you would ask the seller himself that maybe you can't see, something that he would know and it's not prevalent on the boat?
Well, as a matter of fact, I would ask what the service history has been. I would ask the owner, what common issues he's run into running the vessel. I would also be interested to know if all the appropriate recalls were done to it. These are all very, very important things when purchasing a boat. We've gone over manifolds and risers. We've gone over checking your oil. That is just the first step in actually finding out what the service life of the boat has actually been. The most important thing is to just be straightforward with the seller and ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The more information you can gain, the better.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Will. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll have you again. Big machines cost big money. There's a lot to think about. So be thorough, don't rush into anything, and ask questions. Big thank you to Willpower Marine for giving us some valuable insight. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.